Hi, welcome to Test Automation Forum and welcome to our showcase series that we recently started. And today is our second such showcase session that is going to happen. Today we have Simplify3X, which is a commercial testing platform that has the abilities of building your CI/CD friendly test cases or the entire continuous testing setup on this platform. We are going to see how this platform has different components like the scriptless testing capabilities. It has also a SaaS-based platform that you can execute. You do not need to create your own setup. And connecting or integrating this platform with your build pipeline and making it a touchless experience for everyone as part of your DevOps ecosystem. So without taking much time, let's go and connect with the team from Simplify3X. Vijay, Shrey, and Pankti. I would like to thank all of you for taking time and joining us to take us through your tools, capabilities, and how that can help the QA community. We all are part of the bigger ecosystem in software engineering.
Yes.
And it would be great to have a walkthrough on the tool. And before we do that, I would request Vijay to start with your introduction and then to take this discussion forward.
All right. So thank you. So I'm Vijay, the founder of Simplify3X. And why did I form this company, right? About 5 years ago, right? We kind of seen a lot of automation tools and a lot of automation companies, a lot of open source and commercial tools that are available in market. But the trend has been that, when the world is moving towards agile technologies, right? So we had a challenge in terms of using the existing tools and, achieving automation within the sprint or sprint -1, there are quite a few challenges, right? Because most of the testers are embedded into the Scrum teams, most of them have been manual and they do not have competency to use the tools that require scripting, right? So therefore, me as a founder of this company have decided to come up with a new way of doing things that is scriptless automation. And that is one of the things that we brought in. And then, of course, there are a lot of tools in the market. But other than that, there are quite a few challenges. It's just not the automation as a challenge, but there are challenges like in Agile, what happens is, getting multiple tools in place and getting the reports in place, right? Managing the multiple Scrum teams for an enterprise has been challenging. I've been using tools like Rally earlier and Jira earlier, but they do not have inbuilt capability of having automation. You need to integrate some third-party tools, and some of these have been challenges. And then for reporting, you need to collate, and project managers are required. So therefore, we decided to have a one-stop solution where you have complete agile management and then test management, defect management, automation under one roof. That's been the inspiration for us to really bring this tool out called SimplifyQA.
Getting that end-to-end integration done, it is not that easy, okay?
Yes.
Because the testing space, the test automation space is so much fragmented. There are so many tools out there, right? And it is not that easy to have that smooth connectivity between all these tools to have that end-to-end touchless kind of experience from automation standpoint. I absolutely agree on that. And that is the biggest challenge in automation space at this point of time.
And because all automation always stayed outside the purview of the entire SDLC, actually, though whether we liked it or not, you always take some subset of the regression test case, you automate. You always are about 6 months behind what you're doing today, right? In terms of what you're trying to do. You are always trying to catch up. Never in sync with what's happening, right? So therefore, this has been the motivation for us. And I'll go in detail, and as we talk, right? What are the specific challenges we solve? We kind of definitely solve about 7-8 challenges in a big time, right? So I will explain to you over a period of time. So maybe I will allow Shrey to introduce himself, and then therefore, we take questions from you.
Hey, hi, Tri.
Hi,
I'm currently one of the director here. I'm Director Technology here in Simplify3X. I'm here with Simplify3X, I think, from its inception, working with Day1 for Simplify. And I primarily look at the product roadmap, the new features which are coming in. And that's my primary work, what I do here. That's about me.
Nice to connect with you, Shrey, today.
Thank you.
For this pandemic situation in view, things have changed, right? Starting 2020, like industries like aviation, tourism, and so on, they have been very badly hit, right?
Yes, correct.
And in order to survive, I think they have to definitely look at how to broaden their automation space, right? So I think it would be very meaningful if you can take us through how your tool, the platform, can help us in accelerating the automation for enterprises and so on.
All right, thank you very much. See, now let me explain to you. I just earlier I gave you a quick brief, but as I was talking to you, right, the automation is one part of it. But if you look at it, right, any enterprise today, they have multiple programs and multiple projects, whatever we may call that, but then running in. But no one gets a consolidated status of what is happening within that organization, right? The multiple VPs, engineering director. You need to reach out to multiple project managers to get a dashboard. Even the dashboard is specific to project, but not consolidated to the overall the umbrella that you may have about, certain vertical is reporting to you. You have 10 projects, but you do not have a visibility today. And this is one of the challenges that I faced when I was working for an enterprise called 8 now. All right, that is one. And the second thing is what, data is actually distributed. If you ask me, Jira has some data. And then you have Qtest has some data, or even Rally has some data for you. Test execution doesn't happen in any of them. It happens in Excel, and then you mark it as pass or fail somewhere else. And then your metrics, again, you have to put in, in Excel, some pivots, and then get that into PPT. As a project manager, you end up spending about 5-6 hours, on a daily basis to just get the data into shape, so that it is presentable. So before, what we thought is we need one place all the data. We could get everything in one place. And let's say your stories, the release planning, whether it is for Agile or Waterfall, right? And the test cases at one place, test execution plans at one place, and then defects at one place. It's very easy to track, right? You have every asset is at one place, and then it's pretty easy to provide consolidated reports as the tool is, all the data is available in one tool. And there is earlier, most of the tools are kind of first automation tools need manual test cases as an input. And then automation engineers start from there and build automation scripts, right? But we have something we brought in as part of SimplifyQA. We say build script once. Once you build a script, it acts as both manual and automation. Therefore, there is no sequential way of doing it that, you first write test cases, then write automated test cases. And then we also came up with the data generation that we make part for every scenario. In the sense, when I say data generation, what do we do is, like, let us say certain scenario requires about 20 inputs. Maybe there could be text boxes, there could be buttons, there could be check boxes, dates, whatever. What we do is we apply automatically on this data, the boundary value analysis, equivalence, class partitioning, and then optimize that generated data sets into pairwise concepts we apply, and then get the optimized data sets. And so then what happens is it guarantees you some amount of coverage for every scenario that you do. So all this, otherwise, as a manual tester or a tester, you have to spend the time to actually, design these data scenarios and then build script on top of it, then execute, right? So all this we just consolidated and just brought under one umbrella. You just record, and then you put your conditions there. It automatically generates the data, and then your scripts are ready to run. You asked me in pandemic, how would it help, right? Yeah. So in pandemic scenario, right, already there are at least 30% of the industries, like anything related to travel, whether it is aviation or whether it is any sort of a travel, and leisure, hotels, so anything related to that is impacted, right? And obviously the back end is software, is also impacted. But the thing is, we promise, if the tool is used, you should, if you are able to follow the processes that are defined in the tool, you should at least save 30% of your costs in terms of, because we optimize at every area. Then at a project management, we optimize the way you raise defect, we optimize the way you write test cases, we optimize the way you plan, the way you track, they're literally everywhere. It also gives insights. Since the data is available, we know, a guy is able to execute how many test cases in a day, build how many test cases in a day. And then it also gives you a trend where in a certain point of time, somebody is not doing anything. Right? These are all go unnoticed in most of the standard tools and the standard things, right? At times we have a spike in work, sometimes we don't have work, but then it also allows us to reduce or increase, we already know our capacity is adequate enough or not. These kind of insights our tool can provide because with the data that we have available. So this definitely is helping. Most of our customers, are looking to automate as much as possible, right? So bringing within the sprint automation, this helps, automating within the sprint. As you are developing, you will be able to automate, that those are the capabilities. Even if you don't have screens available, this still allows you to script and, build your scriptless way of doing things, with that, create your objects, and you can still build the scripts and execute when your UI is ready. And so that way, it definitely is going to help, in the pandemic times. This has been the need of the hour. It is just not automation, but it also overall optimization of processes across the life cycle. That is what SimplifyQA offers.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Vijay. So will we go and have a quick walkthrough on the platform?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just give you a little brief about what's the technical part of the brief. I mean, we already spoke what the application is about, but a little technical part. I mean, at least what are the areas that we target, right? So with a landscape of our technology is what you can automate. So as of today, Simplify offers you can automate anything on the web. Let it be any browser, right? Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, IE. I mean, you're able to automate in any of these 5 platforms. You can automate mobile-based test cases. So these test cases are primarily anything in iOS or Android can be automated. Then we have API-based, it be SOAP or REST, desktop-based application. As of today, right, we support 3 desktop-based technologies. I mean, the application which are developed either over SAP applications, they're developed on these 3 kind of technology can be automated. A desktop application. Database automation is again something we offer. Any structured database, right? Let it be SQL, MySQL, Postgre, anything, right, that you can automate. We also offer mainframe automation. So it's a this is a landscape of technologies what we offer you. I mean, what you can automate using SimplifyQA. With respect to the platforms where we can execute SimplifyQA, so SimplifyQA can be can be run over all the 3. I mean, Windows, Linux, and Mac, right? I mean, we can run on all the 3 platforms. This is a quick, brief of what SimplifyQA offers technically. What I'll do is I'll quickly take you how do we, accelerate the whole automation effort. How fast can you create a test case, and what really are those things we offer to make your script very robust, right? So I'll take a web-based test case. Right. I mean, it's pretty easy. If you want to create a web-based automation test case, all you have to do is go to this recording icon, select web here. So as you select web over here, a test case screen should open, wherein I can just fill the details about the test case primarily, right? I mean, I need to fill the what is the name of my test case, what module does it belongs to, and any other further description required, we can give that. So say you can define a version of the test case. I mean, we can maintain multiple versions of the same test case. I'll be showing you further in the demo how do we do that. If you have any user stories, you can associate that user story to test case right here. I mean, you can just look for any existing user story and associate that there. I can mark this part of a module. All these can be built. I mean, modules you can directly build. If there is a different module where you can create modules and then just get them here. Okay, and then I'll move to the step section. Here in the step section, all I need to do is go to the record icon, select on which browser I want to record. Let me get the URL. So you have to give the URL here. And once you give the URL, you click on OK. The browser window opens with the URL already loaded there. Okay, now as I move my mouse, right, you see these objects are automatically getting identified. The tool automatically identifies these are the objects where operation can be performed. Right, so I'll just go here. Let me give a username. As I'm doing this, in background, test case, automated test case is being created. Let me just take a scenario wherein I give a username and let me give a wrong password, right? And then I click on login button. Now the idea of this is you will always have a scenario, right, where you want to validate if something goes wrong, you want to validate whether the right message is coming or not when there is a negative scenario. So let me just add a validation. So if you want to add a validation, just click on double shift. You get the list of validation. You just click on what validation you want to implement. I just implement. I just added a step wherein I want to validate whether invalid credential is present or not. Then let's get in the application with the right set of credentials. login. I'm in the application. This is a quick one, small test case. Let's do that. Let's go to the PIM tab. Here, what I'll do is I'll try to look for an employee. Say simplified demo user. I'll select from the auto suggestion. I'll just click on search. So it searches an employee, and let's validate whether the name is correct or not, whether the same name is got queried or not. And let's just log out from the application. Okay, so here it is. I quickly did a small scenario wherein what we did is we launched an application. We tried a negative scenario wherein I gave a wrong username credentials, and we got a failed message, validated that. We got into the application with the right credentials, searched for an employee. The employee was present, validated whether the employee name is queried correctly or not, and then logged out from the application. And here on the screen, what you see is the test case which has been created while I was performing all these actions. So here, right, you see we have step-by-step everything has been recorded, and as you just said, it's all scriptless automation. So it's completely scriptless, and anyone can just, it'll be pretty easy for anyone to understand what is written over here and just read through this step-by-step. They'll understand. So I know their application has been launched. I moved to the right window, clicking on the username, entering the username, password, and so on. Right, you see everything being captured here. These names you see are because they're taken right from the HTML. That's why the name has one or some of the places you'll see some other number coming in, but they can be renamed. And as we know, right, I mean, when it comes to automation, object is the one which really drives my whole automation. That's the most important thing. These are the ones using which you identify anything over the application under test. So here, if you see, this is one of the object username. I'll just show you how this now. What are the various attributes we are capturing and how we are really different from other tools, right? So here, there's a display name. I can go ahead and change this display name if required. So I can just say, I'll say this is a different display name which is more understandable. If you go down, you see there are various properties. Now, talking about a traditional automation approach, right? What happens is you have a one-to-one mapping. You'll see you have a test object. A test object has only one attribute captured for that. Now, the disadvantage with that kind of approach is smallest of the change my script won't be able to take. Right? What happens is it just tend to fill. For example. You take an example wherein your application your application had a button with the name login. Now over the time, the application name is changed to sign in. But when it was login, probably the XPath was captured using that label login, and now the label says it is sign in. Now your test cases will tend to fail, right? In case of traditional automation where you have just one property. But here what we have done is you see here we are capturing multiple object properties. So we have CSS, we have multiple XPaths which gets created. There is class, style, and we try to pick up everything possible. If there were ID, name, any property was present for this object, that would have got captured. And while the script is executing, right? While the script is executing, typically the object tends to find that which is the best property to be used to be run, so that we can run the script. It finds one of the best property to be used, which is uniquely identifiable. Use that property and go ahead with the script, right? So that makes my things really robust. I mean, in case one of the object property changes, I still have some other object property which support my object, right? Using which I can just go ahead. So that's how we make overall scripting really robust. So this is about how the object property, what all object properties we are capturing, how we have multiple object properties. Then we have these actions which are there are actions which are automatically created. We have all other actions present here, which is they'll be more like clear text. All generic actions are present in the application in case you want to add anything manually. So say for example, before I really enter a text for this field, right? I want to probably let's say source my object, and what I want to do is while I do this, what I want to do is I want to probably clear a text. So I can just select this clear text option, and then while my test case executes, the first thing happens is this the text gets cleared, and then only enter text happens. Right. Similarly, we have test data, and the test data is captured here. So before that, if you see this test data is captured as param 1, 2, 5, so on. So this can also be renamed accordingly. Probably I can rename this to URL and so on, right? I mean, username, password, however it is, we can be renamed. It's all one-time effort. I mean, that you have to rename the things. Once you have renamed it, you can just come in here and you see these are the previous, these are various data which has been captured. For password, we can also add a protection wherein the field gets hidden, and then you only see the encrypted password coming in here. So there's a test data which got captured. In case you want to edit anything, you can just go ahead, edit the password or any other field, any test data, and then you can run the test case from there. in case you want to have multiple test data iteration. Typically, right, when you write an automation script, you obviously want your test case to run in multiple environments. You want to run with multiple set of data to make sure, this system works with, all possible data sets. So you can just click on this add button here. As you click on the add button, our test data, automatically gets copied from the previous iteration. Then you can just change whatever data is required. And, and then later at execution time, I can select either, one of these iteration or multiple of the iteration I can select to run them sequentially or parallelly. That choice you get.
So apart from, playing with this test data through your this web GUI, can I programmatically go and edit the script?
Programmatically, you cannot edit the script, but in case you want to add any new actions programmatically, I mean, there is something which is really very, very specific to your application. They're not generic in nature that we have pre-built. So then we have a code editor inbuilt. Anyone who has a basic knowledge of Java can directly go ahead, use the code editor that comes with all the, base, or pretty much similar to any IDE basically. So you can just write your own Java method and then just, call them here in SimplifyQA. Right. You can in fact use you can use Maven, Gradle, or you can upload any external jar. That's all is capable of doing the code editor.
Got it. And one more thing is, like, these days people are, preferring doing in-sprint automation.
Right.
So in the same sprint, pulling the automation script together so that, by the time the build is ready, our test script is also ready, right? So that you do not need to wait for the build to come and then looking at the build, prepare your automation script and all. So would you like to throw some light on that aspect?
Yeah. See, usually, right, the sprint cycle is like very small, right? 2 weeks or max of 3 weeks. That's what happens. And the testing hardly gets a week time or 1.5 weeks time.
Right.
That's where automation always have been in -1 sprint, right? I mean, that's always a previous sprint that automation. Now, the reason why automation is there, because they usually automation scripts takes more time to create. By the time your sprint is, tends to end. So that's why you always, want to test things in by using manual test case, and then, do it in the later part of the sprint, right? I mean, the next sprint use automation. Now here, what happens is, see, there are two ways, right? Say the application is available. Now we say the speed you can automate is at least 3 times faster than any other automation tool. So that's why in-sprint automation is pretty much possible, using SimplifyQA, because you'll be whatever time you get, right? 1.5 weeks or 1 week of time, whatever time you take to create a manual test case, probably a little more time than that, and then you can invest in, and then you can actually create an automated test case itself. And also we have something, right? Once you create an automated test case, you can actually convert that into a manual test case also, so automatically, right? So you have both the things possible. So in that way, in-sprint automation is definitely possible. Also, right, most of the time what happens is, say the development is taking some time and then you still do not have the application available. So how to go ahead with testing for that, right? Now here, what we say is, even if you have a prototype ready, right, all we need is the objects should be in place. So we can just look at the prototype, prepare all the objects and call all the objects in a sequence, right? I mean, here, if you see all this, right, what's happening is it's all about objects, right? I'm just calling all the objects in a sequence. There's an object for, enter the username, password, click on the login button, everything. So if you have a prototype, even within a sprint, we can just take a prototype, prepare our script. Once we have the application, will hardly take, some half a day of time to check the script again, whether everything was fine or not. And then you are good to, start your testing. So that's where in-sprint automation will definitely be possible using SimplifyQA.
Okay. All right. So if I look at, the test life cycle, broadly 3 areas, right? So we are now talking about the test development, right? Whatever you showed, how to create some scripts. And now the next step is executing the script, and also maintenance would be coming after that. So, from your, your official portal, I could see that you have also a SaaS offering, right? You probably help your customers to execute their script on your platform. Is that the correct understanding?
That's right. So, there are like 2 models we are running right now. So typically what happens is there are organizations which do not really have their testing team. So typically what we offer them is along with our tool, we can also automate your test cases, right? They'll have a bulk of tests, right? Over the time of 3-4 years, you have so many test cases, and then you don't have bandwidth to sit and automate everything. So what we say is we can automate those test cases for the clients. And so we offer our services also for that. And using those test cases, client can cope up with their current situation of having a backlog of the test cases. And then slowly we train their team to use the tool. We hand over the complete, the automated test cases to them. And then from there, their team can take it over. So in that way, right, in that way, the pressure of the client can be really, that can be eased off a lot. they can have their scripts, be ready at a much quicker pace, and all their backlog can be really automated very quickly.
Okay. All right. And would you like to also quickly take us through your platform? Vijay was talking about you are supporting multiple layers of the app, right? Your mobile layer, your browser layer, your Windows or client layer. So how is that done in reality? Would you like to?
Yeah. So see, typically, the one thing is, I mean, the whole the way the test case you automate in web, the user experience remains same for all the technologies, right? I mean, if anyone wants to use want to automate mobile platform, I mean, it's pretty much the same. All user has to do is just connect his phone and then just again click on the recording button and just start recording. Your objects gets identified in a similar format. Your scripts gets created in the similar format. So usability wise or user experience wise, it's all the same. Let it be iOS, Android. In fact, right, I mean, one of the feature we have is, you can automate iOS devices on a Windows platform, which is quite a rare feature. I mean, not many people have that. So you don't really need a Mac, because traditionally you need a MacBook to automate an iOS device, which we eliminate that complete effort. I mean, you can use this Windows machine to automate an iOS device. So in that way, right, let it be any any technology stack, let it be web or mobile or desktop, right? The user experience will be the same way. All user has to do is just go to the recording icon, and then according to your privileges, right, you get all the privileges. You just select mobile, desktop, what you select, and then just record. I mean, in whatever technology you want to record.
Great. And can we move to the next step in our automation journey, that is maintenance, the script maintenance? Let's say we built the script, the release 1 is over. In release 2, we have certain changes and certain functionalities from release 1. So how do we take care of that? And I can see Vijay was also talking about this script only once, and reuse the script over multiple releases. So how is that done actually using your platform?
See, typically what happens is, once you have created the script, we can convert this script into multiple reusable function. I mean, your login can be one function. Your let's just show you quickly. Okay, so you see this test case, right? So how this test case is created is, it's in a lot modular approach. So manager login into the application is a function, delete newly created user is a function, create a new user is a function, log out is a function, right? Now the idea is to bring in reusability. You do not really want to redo the things which can be reused again and again. Let's take an example. I mean, here, right, create a new user in the application, apply a leave, reject, probably delete an employee, add an employee, and so on, right? You have so many reusable components that can be used. So what we offer is, you can convert your recorded test case into functions, and then you can just call the functions in a sequence to achieve your automation goals, or your script goals, right? Whatever your test script is really intended to do. So in that way, we save a lot of time for the user, and then it gives a really modular approach. These functions are typically like they are pretty much the same, like how the test case was. So in that way, at least you save a lot of time, of creating the how do we create a test case, and then once you have a lot of functions, right, you can just do a permutation combination of function, and then create multiple test cases out of that, right? So that's one part of that. So in that way, right, what typically happens now in case of maintenance is, say you had an additional step came in, or we had one additional step, or there's some steps to be removed, right, from a test case because of over the release, right, there's some changes has come in, right? So it's pretty simple in here. I mean, all you have to do is just add that objects in the object repository, a newly created one. We have simplified that whole process of adding new objects. Also, we have our own Chrome add-ons to add those new objects into the into the repository. And all you need to do is, say for example, you no more need this username field in the newer release. It's more of it directly takes from your Windows credentials. So either you can just skip them, or you can actually delete them. And also what you can do is, now you can actually save this test case as a new version, because what might happen is, if one of the version of the application, you do not need this with the newer one, right? And in the but still in the older application, you still need that the same functionality to be up and running. So in that way, you can just save this test case into a newer version. So my previous version was 1.0, I can just call it as version 1.1. And once I have this version ready, right now you'll see my test case, right? I have now 2 versions available. One is 1.1.0, which had multiple, which has an additional step for the username, and then I have a version 1.1. So in that way, right, my overall maintainability becomes easy because I have done the changes very easily by just adding the object or just changing those actions there in the test case, which is pretty quick because it's all in the tabular form, and all you need to do is just update the a table there. Right. And then at the same time I'm maintaining various versions, so it depends on now what kind of application, what kind of environment you are running, and you can select that specific version and run the test case into that version, right? And also what happens is we are just talking about that use test case once, right? Try test case once. That's one of the things that what Vijay spoke about. So the whole idea of that is that once you have created an automated test case, now obviously, right, you do not want to again create one manual test case. That the typical process is you create a manual test case, then you create an automated test case, right? Now what we say is you directly create an automated test case, and then you can just go whenever you are executing the test case, right? You can just select it as a manual. So automatically, right, whatever your test case you have created, that will automatically be taken as a manual test case also. Mm-hmm. I mean, automatically those steps for manual test case gets created. So in that way, the things becomes really easy for the user to not to maintain multiple versions of the same test case. You do not have to maintain two different, manual and automation as two different things. I mean, it's all, it's just a single test case with multiple versions. Okay. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, absolutely, Shrey. Thank you so much for covering those three broad aspects of our, test lifecycle. My last question to you on this: how this fits into the continuous testing, framework through Jenkins, or it can be configured with some other CI tools?
We have we have add-ons available for Jenkins as well as for Bamboo for integration into CI/CD. So it's pretty easy. In their market store, our SimplifyQA add-on is present. All you need to do is in your existing Jenkins, you can just pull in the SimplifyQA add-on, and that's it, right? I mean, and then you can just go ahead and then access all Simplify assets in that add-on, and then just configure your Jenkins to execute in which machine you want to execute. All that can be configured. So we have a pipeline module wherein you can create a job. Once you create a job here, I mean, that job, and once you have the, so this pipeline module, just talks about that you can just fill in this, it's just pretty much like a form wherein you can just give a name to this job. You can tell on which machine do you want to execute. So wherever our agent is running, SimplifyQA agent is running, all those machines get listed automatically here. You can just select the which machine you want to execute this test case in, which suite you want to execute. If in case you have a say regression suite I want to execute, for which release you want to execute, for which sprint you want to execute, you just have to just select these few options, and there it is. I mean, then you can just configure this job in Jenkins in SimplifyQA add-on, and it is good to go. So I think overall setup is pretty easy for Jenkins as well as for Bamboo. It doesn't take like more than 10 minutes for anyone to have their SimplifyQA script onboarded on Jenkins.
Yep.
Or Bamboo, I mean, and then there are other tools also, right? So we have our APIs, we have open APIs. So using those open APIs, any other tool can connect to SimplifyQA. Let it be any CI/CD tool or let it be any test management tool, right? So any other CI/CD tool, we have our SimplifyQA API. You just put that API in there, post build jobs, and there you go. I mean, then you can easily connect to SimplifyQA.
Very nice. So what I saw today is a single platform that can help you in having your requirement, your test cases, your test result. It can be integrated with your DevOps, pipeline through Jenkins, Bamboo. You have the plugins, and it can be, the scripts can be executed on your, the cloud infrastructure. You do, your customers do not need to have their, test infrastructure set up in order to execute the scripts. Yeah, so that's pretty nice, features.
Yeah, I mean, and then right, I mean, if you see any company want to start using automation, right? They end up spending at least two men a month or 2 months effort just to create that basic framework, right? Here, and then what we say is, once you have a SimplifyQA platform, and it's a completely cloud-based platform, right? Day 2, you'll be able to start your automation script. So straight away you save 2 months of your time, just to create that framework, and then everything comes as inbuilt, right? You don't really have to worry about your reports. We have historical reports. We have every type of execution report. There are inbuilt dashboards for you to show the sprint, a dashboard about sprint and about test defects, everything, right? All possible dashboards are present in a single tool. So that's why, right, you save a lot of time of yours in creating those things, right? Because those things really important to show it to management. What was my burn down charts, what is the productivity, whether it's automation script is really in use, whether it's not, what are the, so everything is like inbuilt in one single tool. I mean, you don't really have to sit and then create anything other than that.
Yep, absolutely. And if any of our forum followers, they want to evaluate your platform, do you have some trial options available or something?
Absolutely. So we have trial options available, and typically it's a little customized trial we provide to our clients, so they can reach out to us or through our mail IDs or through our LinkedIn or any social media accounts. And as per their requirement, we create a customized environment for them to use, and then we have like tutorials, we have everything for them, and if required, we can get on a call with them and then make them understand how to use the tool, and they'll easily be able to take the demo. They can have a trial of the tool.
Beautiful. All right. So with that, I think we came to the concluding part of our session. So I wanted to thank Shrey and your team for coming forward and showcasing your platform for all our followers in the forum. This is very helpful and such a nice platform. Actually, we saw with on behalf of forum, I wanted to thank you and everyone present in this session. So thank you again, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Rai. That's really, it was really nice talking to you, and then it was a really good session today.
Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, just to make sure we take the highlights from this discussion, we talked about a popular platform called SimplifyQA from Simplify3X, and we talked about its features like the scriptless capabilities. You have to write very less code or maybe no code at all, making it a real accelerating platform for automation, which can save a lot of time because you are not writing lengthy code here. And it also helps in doing enabling high reusability because you are writing the test case once and executing in multiple platforms like mobile and cross-browser and so on. It also helps in simplifying your RTM, the requirement traceability matrix related activities. And as we talked, it supports web, mobile, API, database, as well as mainframe-based implementations. Then again, it has its own cloud extension. The scripts can be executed on cloud on demand, and that cloud can be replicated on the fly when you start executing. And after execution, the cloud will be decommissioned so that you do not get charged continuously after that, after the execution is over. We also saw the capabilities like change impact analysis using this platform. Whenever functionality changes over releases, over sprints, this tool also helps in identifying what are the things changed and where we need to review our test scripts to make sure they are up to date and they are not obsolete. Automatic creation of defects is another beautiful feature of this platform. Parallel execution and cross-browser capabilities are really, really key to any continuous testing setup. So those are the beautiful features of Simplify3X. I wanted to thank again Vijay and Shrey for taking us through such a wonderful product today. So with that, it's time to say goodbye to everyone. Stay safe and take care of yourself. We'll see you in our next video. Till then, goodbye.